between Durin's Bane and the Watcher in the Water. Some call it the Battle of Moria. And then lastly, Treebeard against the upstart Frodo Baggins. Frodo, of course, famously upset the Witch King in the Weathertop rematch last round to advance to fight Treebeard. So again, should be some good ones. We only have 16 characters left. So let's pull up the bracket here, and I will show you exactly where we're at. All right, bracket's up, except it's not on your screen. Wait for it. All right, so let me maximize. So yeah, here's our full Sweet 16. The games, the fights, I should say, that we mentioned are on the top of the bracket here. Scrolling down for the rest of the Sweet 16, we've got Thorin. Oh, sorry. Yeah, these ones. So tomorrow, we will, after Gimli and Glorfindel, so we have Saruman and Quickbeam, Galadriel against Radagast, all chalk in that region there. We have Sauron against Aragorn. Then another upset here, Landroval against Círdan. So, our lowest seeds remaining, Landroval, of course, he upset Elrond in the last round to advance. Then this was chalk, the favorites one there. Favorites one and up through here. Gimli pulled the upset over Smaug, and then Frodo is the lowest remaining seed as a 9. Of course, we mentioned earlier, he beat the Witch King. So, that's our bracket. Now, what about the competitors? Here on the first page of the leaderboard, looks like Tyler is leading the way with 37 points. Of course, this could change. All the points remain to be scored. You know, the further you go in a bracket contest, I'll stop sharing the screen so you guys can see me. Yeah, the further you go in a bracket contest, of course, the more points. What am I trying to say? The further you go in a bracket competition, the more valuable your predictions are per fight. That's what I'm trying to say. So in the Sweet 16, your points are twice as valuable as they were in the round of 32. Going to the Elite 8, they're going to be twice again as valuable as they were all the way up to the final game. Engine Chief, do I have that right? I'm not.
Yeah, you said it great. The rewards grow each round.
That's right. Correct. So, our first fight of the evening is Gandalf against the Olog High of Mordor. Yes, the Super Troll against the Maya, otherwise known as the Grey Pilgrim, otherwise known as Mithrandir, otherwise known as Stormcrow, and more commonly known as Gandalf. As we've showed you in the first few rounds already, not to beat a dead horse, but Gandalf, second best record in the field, only to Sauron himself. He beat Saruman, Glorfindel, Elrond, and Treebeard in the regular season.
Yeah, we should say there was a regular season in case someone's just joining us.
Exactly.
We fought a round robin of everyone, and it's interesting what you learn from that. Yeah. His losses were Gimli, Barrow-Wight, Bolg, and Faramir, and I don't know what to make of that. That's a weird assortment.
Yes. Yeah, so not really any hugely bad losses. I guess his worst loss was Faramir, who I think was an 7 or 8 seed. And so, yeah, should have won that one. He only lost 12 overall, though, and I mean, there's not too much to say here. The guy's really, he's a stud. He's a heavy hitter. He's a 1 seed for clear reasons. 96 stamina, 98 striking with Glamdring. So he's the most fell of all the Maya in terms of striking, that stat there, which is how you strike. It's easy to remember because it's how you wound the enemy, right? And so you go head to head against the enemy's armor. And when you roll to wound on toward the right-hand side of your screen here, I don't think you can see my mouse, but when you roll to wound, your striking does the magic in that category. So, or as you can see here in this red stat toward the top of your screen, determines the likelihood of wounding the enemy. Gandalf is elite at that. Of course, that is balanced against the enemy's armor, and tonight he goes up against the Olog High, who does have armor. Remember, these are Sauron's armored trolls. Think of the movie in the Battle of the Pelennor Fields and the assault on Minas Tirith. Those are armored trolls. So 83 armor, no slouch. Gandalf might, however, elect to use his ranged attack in that instance, which is also pretty damn good. Oh, this is Radagast. This is also really good, right? 74 accuracy, not elite, but 80 piercing, very good, right? So your best character in the game, I want to say a dragon. It's either Glaurung or Ancalagon the Black is going to have like 96 piercing. I don't think it gets much higher than that. Your best elves, low 90s piercing. Those are mostly first stage guys. Legolas, for example, just to give you an example, because people always ask, what's up with these stats? I don't have Legolas handy, but take my word for it. Yeah, 80's good on piercing. So it'll be interesting. It'll be something to watch in the fight. What Gandalf does, ranged versus wielding Glamdring against the cave troll. Not the cave troll, the Mordor troll. Switching to the Olog High, of course, some quality wins. Saruman slew him. Glorfindel, Radagast, Smaug. Some elite dudes that he took down, but he lost 23 fights. So there's some weaknesses there, including losing to Gollum, Theoden, Frodo, and Imrahil. So, why might that be? Quick answer, some weaknesses here. The obvious ones, no magic, which is 1/3 of your ability to inflict damage at the end phase. Only 50. He doesn't have much of a ranged attack, right? So he's forced into melee with 97 ferocity, 90 striking. Still very good. Not elite, though, with the agility, which goes directly towards engaging the enemy. Right? And if you can't engage, as we always say, then you can't hit. And if you can't hit, you can't wound. You can't wound, obviously you can't win. On defense, not very elusive, right? So he's not going to be able to avoid being engaged by a more agile character like Gandalf, right? So let's just flip back here. 74 agility for Gandalf to engage the cave troll with only 60 elusiveness. So advantages for Gandalf at the end of the day, but you are never out of the fight. And this is why we must fight to know. So, Engine Chief, you got initial thoughts on this one as we pull up the battle engine?
I can always see it better here in the graphics. So look at these graphics. Hard to find something. Armor sticks out as the only thing the cave troll has, really. The armored troll.
Yeah, I do that too.
But armor helps you against melee combat, and I think Gandalf may stay away from him and zap him with spells, in which case, hard to go
Exactly right.
Gandalf here.
Yeah, and to Engine Chief's point, their top line of this, if you can read that, Mithrandir will prefer to use ranged combat with the Flame of Anor. Olagai, of course, preferring melee with his heavy blade.
In general, we've seen wizards lose to great ranged characters.
Yes.
Hit them with arrows or something, and that's not the Olagai's strength. So I think there's a bigger gap here than most 1/4s, but let's see what happens when they fight.
Well said indeed. Let me figure out why my mouse isn't working all of a sudden. Oh, bother. Let me plug in here, guys. Wait for it. Wouldn't be Middle-earth madness in the Chamber of Death without something breaking, would it? All right, we're almost back in business. All right. Shall we fight?
We shall.
Let us fight. In our first fight of the Sweet 16, we have the Olag High against Gandalf the Grey. Let us fight! First attack, 2. Gandalf with the Flame of Arnor, but he fails to penetrate. Right, can the cave troll retaliate? He can, but he cannot hit. Gandalf draws first blood with just a slight wound from the magical staff. The Olag High counters. He uses his less favorable weapon, forced to do a chain thrack, but misses. Gandalf comes back, hits, wounds, only a slight one. The armor of the troll is fell indeed. Now, can he inflict any damage on the wily wizard? He swings, misses. Gandalf counters, hits, doesn't wound. A wound by the cave troll to even the fight in the 8th round. Pretty even going into the 9th. Now, what can Gandalf do? He attacks, doesn't hit. Cave troll counters, can't even engage. Gandalf can't hit. Cave troll can't engage. I keep saying cave troll, of course, you all know who I'm talking about. It's the Olag High. They don't always live in caves. They can come out in the sun. They have troll sunscreen. All right. Olag High counters. Can't do anything. A hit and a wound by Mithrandir. A gaping slash by the Flame of Arnor. He burns the troll through his sunscreen. And now he has heavy advantage through 15 rounds. All right, Engine Chief, what say you?
Just what we expected. It's going to be a miracle if the Olag High can do it.
He needs a hit, and he needs it now. Can he get it? Oh, where are my controls? Over that. All right, we're back at it. Oh, misses. Back and forth they go through 17. Dancing a little bit now, leading up to the 20th round. A hit. No damage by the Olag High. Back comes Gandalf. Can he finish it? He can't. Olag High counters. Engages. Cannot hit. A wound by Gandalf, but only slight damage. The Olag High is not out of the fight, but he needs to draw blood here. He can't. A hit. No damage by Gandalf on the counter. Here comes the Olag High. He engages. Cannot hit. A wound by Gandalf. Again, only slight with the Flame of Arnor. Alright, you need it now, Troll, if you will stay in the fight. He cannot even engage. Gandalf, is this it? He engages, cannot damage. Troll, staying alive, just like the Bee Gees said. But is it enough? A hit and a wound by Mithrandir. Slay. And that is all. Gandalf wins.
6-1 in hits.
Yep.
Two big ones. The end.
Called it pretty much perfectly.
Yeah.
So, did you have that one in your brackets, ladies and gentlemen? Were you correct? We shall see. We update those, by the way, for those that submitted brackets. Give me until tomorrow morning. It's not, I'm here calling these fights, so it doesn't happen in real time. We have had people ask about that. It's like, wait, I was ahead, then now I'm behind. It's because I don't update the brackets until after the fights, after the stream. And so give me till tomorrow morning, then everything will be correct on that end. All right, well, the Olag High, he hung in there, but no dice at the end of the day. Who we got next? Let us consult the old bracket, and we shall see. All right, so we're fighting in the top region. If you guys go to MiddleEarthMadness.com, bracket tracker page, we just knocked this one out, and of course, Gandalf is the winner. So all that updates. Next one we've got is Treebeard against the Olog High. Yes. So
Olog
Gandalf
High.
punches his ticket to the Elite Eight. And Chief,
We just fought the Olog High. Treebeard what?
excuse me, next fight is Treebeard against Frodo. What did I say?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think you said Olog High. Yeah, okay.
My fault. Multitasking. Yep. So here's our next fight here. The winner will advance to take on Gandalf. All right. So what does that look like? That is, of course, good guy on good guy violence. Engine Chief, I'll let you give us your thoughts while I cue this one up.
Well, I mean, if you believe in momentum, Frodo is amazing to be here. So maybe it goes on. Last year, no one could beat Farmer Maggot, so maybe it's Frodo's turn.
Exactly right. And I guess we got the right person in the house to speak to this, but just so everyone knows, that's not a thing in the programming here, right?
Oh yeah, I didn't mean to say that. Yeah.
No. It's but just to be clear, like you don't actually get hot, although that might be a neat feature in the future. I think we talked about that before, right? Because momentum in the basketball tournament, for example, is a very real thing. Well, I mean, I'm not a psychologist, but it really seems to be a real thing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So,
it seems like it. It wasn't this year. It was a very chalky tournament this year.
It's true. Yeah. So something on our list to maybe play with in future iterations of the battle engine. But yeah, for now, Frodo's doing work on his own merit. It's not because he's getting points for momentum or anything like that. But the guy, let's pull up his card here and I'll show you. Frodo. So not your average hobbit for two obvious reasons for folks that know the story, right? He does have the mithril coat, which if you go on the defensive side of the card here, gives him 75 armor. He's not a dwarf or, a knight of Dol Amroth or anyone with elite armor, but 75 is certainly good. Excuse me. And then on the offensive side, his striking is 82 because he's got Sting. So compared to all the other hobbits, which are 11 and 12 seeds, except for Farmer Maggot, who also has his dogs as his ranged attack, right? So Frodo is the best hobbit for those reasons. Bilbo, the version of Bilbo that's in this battle engine, we kind of split the difference with him because if you know the stories, he doesn't get the mithril coat until after the events of The Hobbit. So the version of his character that fights does not have the mithril coat. But he does have Sting. Okay. So Frodo, look, he's agile. He's got decent striking with Sting. What else good can we say about him? On defense, again, he's got some armor and very good elusiveness. He's a dodgy little guy, right? And he can also dodge ranged attacks decently at 88. And that's kind of how we factor in the elvish cloak, things like that. Hobbits, just in general, all the hobbits, Frodo also, high dexterity, high elusiveness on defense. So they tend to hang in fights a little bit, but that doesn't always equate to wins. Frodo won 18 in our Everyone Fights Everyone, quote-unquote, regular season, right? He did beat Glorfindel, the Olag High, Androval, and Azog. He also lost to Merry, Gollum, Grishnak in the Battle Light. Now he's fighting Treebeard, Fanghorn himself, Int, and eldest of, well, really anything in Middle Earth, except maybe Tom Bombadil. I think it's, I don't know. I think opinions still differ on which of those two is older. It involves knowing an impossible thing, which is who and what is Tom Bombadil, right? But we can unpack, if you guys want to read a future newsletter, we can go deep on the lore on Treebeard versus Tom Bombadil in terms of who actually is eldest. Now, Treebeard calls himself eldest in one of the passages with Merry and Pippin when Merry and Pippin are asking him about the Ents and what they are. The shepherds of the trees with no Entwives, so they can't reproduce. So they're, an endangered species that's vanishing from the world, a lot like the elves. And, the disadvantage there, or I guess the crappy thing for Ents as a species, is they've also been around a long time. But since before the elves awoke in Cuivianen, because we know that Yavanna set asleep upon the world after Melkor in the very, very, before the first age of the sun, going back to the age of the lamps of the Valar, when the earth was still being shaped. Yavanna, one of the Valar of plants and gardens and trees, set asleep upon all her creations under only starlight. So once Morgoth, then known as Melkor, wrecked the first lights of the world, all the trees were growing under starlight. So they were asleep, right? And I think that's Tolkien's way of saying, well, not that he was a scientist or anything, but they're not performing photosynthesis. It's more of like a hibernation that's happening. And even then, the Ents were thought of, right? So the Ents might have even been part of the music in the very, very infancy of the world. Could Tom Bombadil have been around then too? Possibly, if he's a Maiar, but I don't think he is, and I don't think he's a Valar. I think he's like the missing link or something, but that's just me. All right, bookmarking that for the newsletter. By the way, subscribe at MiddleEarthMadness.com if you enjoy trips to Lordor, and we shall take you there. But we have fights to get to, do we not, Engine Chief?
We do. We do. I'm looking at this, the screen you just showed there, showing Sauron. Key wins, key. Look at that. Look at that. Key victory, Sauron. There's nobody tougher. He beat him.
Yeah, good point.
Key losses, Merry. There's no one weaker, and he lost to them.
Mm-hmm.
That is absolutely fun. It shows you that Treebeard is a very, what would you call it? An asymmetric character. Look at that, 38 dexterity. You can't do worse than that. So he has his strengths and he has his weaknesses. So any fight with Treebeard can go either way.
Really well said. Yeah, and in fantasy football, we call that a high variance draft pick, right? Because he could win you your league, or he could just totally bone you any given week, right? So, as we welcome TJ to the show. Hey, TJ, long time no see, my man. How are you?
He looks muted.
He's on mute.
Yeah, I'm muted. I'm getting was just getting linked up. I didn't know it was the same link for Striker. So
yep, you're good, man. We were just talking a little Treebeard versus Frodo, our next fight.
Cool.
Let me pull up the old battle engine here while you get sorted. Yeah, so to Engine Chief's point there, I mean, can we see any advantages for Frodo? So green line, Treebeard. Blue line, Frodo. Just gives you a quick snapshot, guys, of how the stats stack up here.
Red bars is the difference between those, and so you see huge advantages for both sides.
That's right. But only, several here for more than I thought for Frodo, okay? So ferocity, I'm looking at Treebeard. Okay, so for Frodo, dexterity, elusiveness. Can you guys see the hand on the screen there, Engine Chief?
I can. Yes, I can.
Okay. So Frodo's main advantages here are going to be agility, elusiveness, accuracy, and dexterity. Will Frodo use his? No, he's going to want to use Sting, which is probably the right move. You can't hunk rocks at an Ent and hope to win. Although, looking at Treebeard, he does prefer to hunk boulders. So that'll be interesting because Frodo actually has pretty high, as we pointed out earlier, he's got pretty high wiliness, right? Elusiveness against ranged attacks, dexterity, right? If you look at 88 dexterity, right? Let me get that hand back here. Where are we? Sorry, guys. Right here. We see that upside down bar there. That's dexterity. That's Frodo's ability to dodge ranged attacks, right?
Like
so
the Matrix.
exactly, he's going backwards, he's dodging bullets. I don't know if it's the best call for Treebeard to hang back and toss boulders because his accuracy is not that good. Now, if he hits him, of course, he's going to squish him. But Treebeard's accuracy is only 52. That's going to allow Frodo to hang around in this fight. Do I have that wrong, Engine Chief? How does the math break down on that?
Well, you have a different screen that goes deeper, but we don't have time really.
Yeah.
I think that's basically it. Frodo's going to dodge quite a bit.
Yep. If you guys do want, more exposure, go deep with the stats and everything else, check out MiddleEarthMadness.com character page. Check out the Battle Engine page. Best way to get really an advantage and to, be a better bracketer in our next tournament. Too late to bracket this time, of course. Brackets are closed. Next time, though, if you subscribe to our newsletter, you're going to get a bunch of advice in the lead up to the next tournament, right? So me and Engine Chief are going to have some bracket preview shows, bracket breakdown. I call them shows. We'll stream some as well, but it's the content's also going to be in the newsletter. So if you guys want to win some money in the next bracket contest, subscribe. MiddleEarthMadness.com/subscribe. And without further ado, should we fight?
Let us fight.
You heard it from Engine Chief first. Let us fight! In our second fight of the Sweet 16, we have Treebeard, don't be hasty, little orcs, against Frodo Baggins. Good guy on good guy violence. Let us fight. First attack to Treebeard, tossing a boulder from range and misses. Frodo counters with Sting, cannot engage. Treebeard again engages, can't hit. Frodo, back and forth they go through 5-6 rounds, nothing so far. The first hit to Treebeard. Does he squish him? Ooh, he squished him with the boulder. Slay. Not even close. The Ent mauls the Hobbit and advances to the Elite Eight.
Womp womp, Frodo.
Well, hope you guys like beatdowns.
Well, it sets up great Final Fours, as we're learning in basketball.
Exactly right. That's always the advantage to chalk is, you get the real heavy hitters in the Final Four in the final game. Yeah, go Cougs tonight, by the way. Can't wait for that one. All right, well, we got our first beatdown. Let's go back to the bracket. TJ, do we have Striker with us yet?
Yes, I am here.
Striker, welcome to the show, my friend.
Striker is the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bracket. Here we are. Okay, so Striker, we were just talking. Here. Let's update the bracket right quick. Gandalf has already advanced in the first fight of the night. He slew the Olag High of Mordor. So Gandalf was our first character to advance to the Elite Eight. Who shall he be joined by? Well, we know the answer to that too, because Treebeard just took no prisoners against Frodo. So we'll go ahead and advance him to the Elite Eight, where he will face Gandalf. Should be a good one there. Meanwhile, we are about to have our next fight of the night as the bracket totally disconnects itself. That is an unsightly bug, ladies and gentlemen. We're still working on that. Next, we have Durin's Bane against the Watcher, which some have called the Battle of Mordor. Do you recall the lore?
No, not Mordor, Moria.
Moria, man. Someone get me some more coffee up in here.
Really?
So,
Yeah.
so we have. I'll take you back to the Fellowship of the Ring, right? My favorite of the three books. Towards the end of that one, the Fellowship is navigating. They can't, of course, go over the mountains. They get stuck on Karatas in the snow, and they have to turn around and go back through Moria. And they don't quite know at the time what's waiting for them in Moria. And outside the Western Gate, so on the west side of the Misty Mountains, there's the Dwarven Gate that was built to trade with the elves in a time during the Second Age of Middle-earth, around the time of the forging of all the Rings of Power, right? So the elves were friendly with the dwarves under Durin IV in that reign of Khazad-dû. But of course we know that Durin had an ill fate in store because the dwarves, as Saruman says, delve too greedily and too deep. You know what they awoke in the darkness of Khazad-dû. Shadow and flame. Right? cool passage. That's my Saruman impression. Right? But yeah, the dwarves of Khazad-dû, of Moria, woke up the Balrog. And older and fouler things than orcs live in the deep places of the world. And against some of them, I have not been tested, says Gandalf. Now, he was doubly correct about that because he had not been tested against the Watcher in the Water either. Some dark creature of the abyss who slithered up through the passages, that connect the roots of the mountain and the water that Gandalf and Durin's Bane fell into during their terrible battle. At the basement of the world, this thing, whatever it is, from the depths, crawled up into the lake that's just outside. It's a flooded river, actually. It was a dammed river that the dwarves built as part of their engineering of Moria to get, water wheel power basically going for their forges or some such. And this creature, the Watcher, crawled up into that lake and, of course, attacked the Fellowship just after Gandalf remembered the magic word Melon to open the gates of Moria. And he it was, the Watcher, that trapped the Fellowship inside Khazad-dûm, inside Moria. So then, of course, they had no choice but to go through Moria and face the Balrog at the bridge of Khazad-dûm. So, how do these two characters actually square up against each other? The Watcher in the Water, 21 losses, not too great. He gets a 4 seed, but he actually overperformed a little, in my opinion, in this round robin. And what I mean by that is look at his key victories. He slew Sauron, one of 7 characters to do that. Saruman as well, Glorfindel, and Galadriel. So,
those are impressive wins.
Big time wins, right, Engine Chief?
Yeah.
So
impressive.
Look at the pipsqueaks that took him down, though. Samwise, Theoden, Bolg and Imrahil, not exactly pipsqueaks, but middle-seated characters there. So another, like Treebeard, a little bit of a high variance character here. And if we stack him up to Durin's Bane, of course, a 1 seed, only lost 12 fights. He slew Saruman, Gandalf, Elrond, and Smaug. Again, lost to Samwise. Very strange. But that was really his only bad loss. Boromir, Legolas, Thorin. Those are somewhat respectable characters to lose to. Still, though, a guy like Faramir is only going to, in a 7-game series, how many do you think he wins? Maybe 1? Maybe none. In a 10-game series, he probably wins 1, I would say. But it's a single elimination tournament. Anything can happen in one fight. And as in Middle-earth, with the battle engine, let me try that one again. in the battle engine, as in Middle Earth, anything can happen, and we've seen it already, right? So I don't know.
Bane lost to Samwise. That tells you.
That tells you right there. How do Stryker? What do you think about this battle, just off the top of your head, while I queue things up in the battle engine here?
Well, is it possible that the Watcher can pull Durin's Bane under the water where it came from?
It is indeed possible, and the reason that's true is because the battlefield fully occurs in your imagination. So you command exactly those circumstances. Now, what actually happens with the algorithm and the math? It's randomized in the battle engine. And Engine Chief, you take a crack at explaining that, because you know better than me. But the way I would put it is there's some deliberate randomness that goes into it. You take it from there.
Well, again, it's easier to me if you go to the next screen with the
I
graph.
gotta queue it up.
Yeah.
You talk while I queue it up.
Okay. Yeah, well, such an interesting question. Such an interesting question. I'm glad you asked that, even though I don't know the answer.
There.
Yeah. Oops, doesn't come up.
All right.
Yeah, so looking at this, the Balrog is the green line, the Watcher's the blue line. So you can see that he's not as good in almost anything you want to look at.
Yeah.
But he does have armor, and armor includes any tool that defends you against a close-in strike. Durin's Bane is going to use ranged, though. You see that up in the first row?
Yes.
So he doesn't have good defense against that. So the answer is probably not, right? Where's that thing? Oh, 83%. Can you show that with your mouse, Adam? That 83% thing? Yeah, right there.
83% of the time.
83% of the time, the Balrog's going to, Durin's Bane, the Balrog is going to be using ranged combat. But what's the difference there? 17% of the time, no, he'll try to close in, and then what you said can happen. What we don't have built in is, like, if he gets him under the water once, does it quench his fire for the future? And the answer is we didn't do that. That's a long, weird answer, but
yeah. Does that make sense, Stryker?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So it'd be neat if we could, get really specific and granular with, the dragging him underwater quenches his flame attack, and then he can't do it. Actually, I'm not even sure it would, though. With a spirit of fire like a Balrog, he'd probably just, go wet for a minute, dust himself off, and that's to flame, right? Because he's made of shadow and flame. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone was bold enough to pick this upset in their bracket. I will add one last point here. Durin's Bane was a popular pick last year in our Third Age Throwdown to go to the Final Four, and even the championship game. I know Chucky, one of our founders, he picked him all the way. Good pick, right? I mean, he's a heavy hitter. He's a 1 seed, and he got upset in the Sweet 16 by, I think, Farmer Maggot. Or no, Samwise. I think Samwise made a Sweet 16 run. Anyway, a Hobbit took down the Balrog, and maybe the Balrog this time is out for vengeance. We will have to see. We will see right now, because it's time to fight. Let us fight. In our third fight of the Sweet 16, first night of the Sweet 16, we have Durin's Bane against the Watcher in the water. Let us fight. First attack goes to the Balrog. He's forced to use his less favorable weapon, which is the Burning Blade. But he cannot engage the wily Watcher. The Watcher comes back, attacks, misses. Balrog attacks, hits, wounds, slight smite. First blood to the Balrog. Now can the Watcher snag him with those tentacles and pull him underwater. Not that time. He misses. The Balrog counters. He hits and wounds again. Only a slight one that time. The Watcher is still alive. What can he do? He attacks and misses again. The Balrog counters. Misses. Lucky for the Watcher, he's still alive. But he needs to do some damage. He hits, he wounds, and right there he evens the fight, taking a slight lead. Now, the Balrog is in a slight bit of trouble, but there is still a long way to go. The Balrog picks himself up, dries himself off from the murky water, bursts back into flame and attacks. Hits, wounds! Yes, and now the Balrog says, "Do not pull me into that foul water, you creepy, crawly, squid-like being. I will harm you." Oh, and the Watcher comes back. Only a slight wound, but he's dealing it out. He's hanging in. I like to see that. Thoughts so far, guys, through 10 rounds. Don't everyone speak at once.
Well, I noticed that Watcher isn't doing as much damage as I thought he would. I thought it would.
Yeah, good point. I mean, he's... Yeah, whereas the Balrog... I guess the Balrog only has the one really good attack so far, though, and they've mostly been even. Alright, whose turn is it? The Balrog. Can he finish it? He hits, he wounds, and right there a fell stroke with what? Oh, the burning lash. There's some damage right there, and now the Watcher is in trouble. But you know what we say here? You are never out of the fight. The Watcher misses. Balrog counters, misses. The Watcher counters, engages, cannot hit. The Balrog comes back, wounds, only slight. The Watcher keeps attacking, engages, cannot hit. The Balrog hits, wounds, slay. And the Balrog wins. Whew. Well, guys, more talk.
Okay, that was interesting.
Yep, but the good thing about chalk, as you can see here, is it sets up some really good final fights. So if we go back to... Oh, sorry. Am I sharing the bracket? Yeah, here we go. Let me maximize that so you can see it. Now, Durin's Bane has advanced in this fight, and the Watcher has been slain. So the Durin's Bane will go to the Elite 8. There he is. And he will fight the victor of Glorfindel against Gimli, our last fight of the night. So, as we just said, yeah, one more fight for you guys. We've got, let me pull it up, Gimli against Glorfindel. Maybe saving the best for last in this one. And the reason being is this elf v dwarf violence goes back a long way into the distant First Age. Now, ever since the elves were brought into being, and they were invited initially to Valinor in the far west. Think of Valinor, you know, for those that haven't read the Silmarillion, first of all, read it, it's great. Second of all, if you haven't, it's basically a version of the afterlife. Now, it's not the full version of the afterlife because God, namely Iluvatar, has a fate apart for humans. That's what we would call that's what we would call heaven, right? That's where humans go in the afterlife. But the elves do not go to heaven in the afterlife. They go back to Valinor to dwell with the gods. The demigods, you can think of them. They're not the one god. They're not the creator. They're the co-creators of the world. Right? So they're like really powerful angels that have put their power into Earth to shape it, to help God shape the world. That's the way to think of the Valar. Now, the elves were invited to live in Valinor. After being born in Middle-earth, they were summoned by the Valar because, the Valar were curious. They said, we want to know more about these gods' firstborn children. And we're curious. We'd like to help, right? And they meant well, right? But they might have had kind of their own purposes, like shaping events or shaping hearts and minds, maybe, right? So the elves, the Valar, they summon the elves to Valinor. And certain groups of these elves, mainly the Noldor and the Teleri and the Vanyar, these are 3 houses of elves that live amongst the Valar and become extra powerful. They study with the angels, basically, and learn unbelievable lore and craftsmanship and magic. And so, yeah, it's all good for the elves for a while. But in so doing, they're over there partying in Valinor with the gods, and they don't realize that one of the gods, being a little bit of a scofflaw, his name is Aule. He is the maker, the forge master, the maker of earth and fire. Well, not fire, earth, and I'm thinking like hot lava in the forge, and mountains, and he forges big things like that. He also created the dwarves before he was supposed to. So the big party foul for Aule, and Iluvatar is cross with Aule. He said, wait a minute, this was not part of my grand symphony. You have crossed the line, foul one, Aule. And so Aule, who has already created the 7 dwarf lords, says, oh, I'm sorry, God. What would you have me do? And he takes up his hammer and offers to smash the dwarves. And God said, no. You've brought into being a sentient form of life. Now, it would be wrong to slay them, but you cannot cross my design, and you cannot have them awaken before the elves awaken. So you must keep them underground. And so for countless years, the dwarves were alive underground, sort of, not really allowed to do much work or create great kingdoms or anything, but they were alive before the elves. So the elves aren't really the firstborn as it turns out. Now, ever since the elves first came back from Valinor and encountered the dwarves and learned that, the elves weren't really the firstborn, it was actually the dwarves, because of Aule, that came into being beforehand. Well, the elves get a little bit cross. Not vindictive or anything, but their first experience meeting the dwarves was, oh, you guys are small and hideously ugly and hairy. And even your chicks are hairy and have beards. I'm not sure we can be friends. And so ever since the beginning, they were haughty and they made fun of the dwarves. Of course, the dwarves, the passage from the Silmarillion reads, a warlike race of old were all the Naugrim. And so, of course, they didn't take kindly to these pointy-eared princesses ripping on them, right? So, ultimately, this causes literal wars between the elves and the dwarves. But it's a neat way to set up this fight because that rivalry never fully went away, and it lasts all the way into the events of the Fellowship and of the Ring, when Gimli and Legolas meet each other and are frenemies at first, right? They're not getting along because of this ancient rivalry. Elves just do not like dwarves. They almost fought in the events of The Hobbit in the Battle of the Five Armies, right? So a lot of history here. We got a comment. Yeah, drop more comments, guys. I see your comments coming through here. Epic battle there between beasties, said the Manchukutioner. That's right, dude. The Balrog won in the end. Who shall be the true Lord of Moria? I think the Balrog still has that crown. Glorfindel. Yes, Manchukutioner, we know. We know Glorfindel is your boy. Man, and as far as elves go, honestly, I mean, Glorfindel's got to be my boy. If it's not Feanor, it's Glorfindel. I know those are fighting words for Silmarillion fans. We're not so popular, but I freaking love Feanor, man. Give me all the Feanor. He was wronged. He was vindicated. And yeah, feel free to tell me I'm wrong in the comments on that one. All right, last fight of the night, guys. Let's take just a quick look. I won't make you guys wait too much longer here. Gimli. Good stats. Again, 26 and 26. You look at the record and you might think, well, that's not great, right? Executioner says the malt beer and red meat off the bone. Merchant can piss off. All right. So we got at least one person going for Glorfindel in this one. But Gimli, trusty dwarf of the Fellowship, he slew Gandalf, Treebeard, Elrond, and Boromir in our Everyone Fights Everyone round robin. So he did some work. Again, he was batting 500 and he lost as many fights as he won, including some bad losses to Pippin, Imrahil, Ugluk, Eomer. Again, I guess the only one you can truly call bad there is Pippin. But he should have beaten Imrahil, probably. That's closer. He probably should have slain Ugluk the Uruk. So, yeah. Dwarves, stat-wise, they're tanks on defense. They're still solid on offense, not 80 striking, 84 ferocity. No magic to speak of. Decent, but not great agility. And that's what we got with dwarves, guys. Now he is fighting Glorfindel. Only 17 losses in the round robin, the regular season as we call it. He slew Sauron. He slew the Balrog. He slew Saruman and Smaug. I mean, that's the best of the best. So he's capable of it, we know that. He lost to Frodo somehow. He lost to Bard, probably on a lucky shot. Maybe Bard was using the Black Arrow that day. He lost to Thorin. Thorin, again, the dwarves, they're pretty fell. And Azog, very ferocious orc there. Not a horrendous loss, but of course he should have won all four of those. And he lost, 17 total. So losses are possible, but again, this is one of the very heaviest of heavy hitters here. 96 stamina, 86 agility, 83 striking, a ranged attack that's okay. It's these elven light spells that they kind of use. More on that when we get the battle engine pulled up. On defense, though, the armor only 66. Good elusiveness to avoid being engaged if he wants. 95 valor. So that's 1/3 of the calculation that goes into how many damage does he take if he's hit in the end calculation, right? So I will pull the battle engine up here. Drop it in the comments while I do that, or Striker, you can let us know how you see this fight playing out, please.
I have a feeling Glorfindel might win this one.
Yes. Do you favor the elves over the dwarves? Or just in this case?
In this case, I favor the elves, but they both elves and dwarves have done good and bad things.
Well said. Factually accurate. Yeah, but both of them have. They make mistakes. They're not. Neither race is perfect, right? They're like humans in that regard, very much so. And man, if you go back in the histories, they both made dumb mistakes. Not just mistakes, but dumb mistakes. Like oh man, I won't go down another rabbit hole. I'll spare you. But well said. Yeah, they both have made their share of fatal errors throughout the ages. So let's bring up the battle engine, take one last look at the stats here, and we will have our last fight of the night. So, green line, Glorfindel. Blue line on the graph here, Gimli. Quick glance tells us that Glorfindel has obvious advantages in magic and spirit and elusiveness. Gimli's got advantages in armor and toughness and deflection. So again, defense versus offense in this one. Final thoughts before we fight. Any comments?
Not really.
All right.
Let them fight.
Excellently said. Say it one more time. Say it louder.
Let them fight.
Yes, let them fight. In our last fight of the first night of the Sweet 16, we have a good one. It's Glorfindel against Gimli, renewing the ancient rivalry between elves and dwarves. Who shall draw first blood, and who shall advance to the Elite Eight? Let us see. The first attack goes to Gimli with the dwarven battle axe. He can't engage. Glorfindel counters. He engages, can't hit, with the blade of the Gondolin Dream. Gimli counters, can't engage. A hit by Glorfindel, off the dwarvish armor. That could go the distance for Gimli if he pulls another upset in this one. Let's see. He counters. Can't engage. Glorfindel attacks. Hits another glancing blow off the armor. And allows Gimli to counterattack. Can't engage. Glorfindel's too wily in this one, which is making the Manticutioner happy, I am sure. Glorfindel's like the Citadel playing basketball. Right you are! Alright, let's see if Glorfindel can do some damage. No one has drawn first blood yet. Alright, back to the fight. Whose turn is it? We've got Glorfindel. He engages, cannot hit. Gimli counters, can't even engage. Glorfindel comes back, hits! No damage, another blow off the armor. That dwarvish armor, it's real. We say it all the time. Gimli, but it's not going to do Gimli a lot of good if he can't even engage the wily elf. Can't even engage right there. So Glorfindel, again, has the attack. A hit, and the first wound by the elf. A slight smite. Gimli still in the fight, but advantage to Glorfindel through 13 rounds. Gimli engages, can't hit. Glorfindel counters, hits, tink, off the armor. Gimli comes back, can't engage. Glorfindel can't hit. Gimli can't engage. Are you noticing the pattern? Glorfindel can't hit. Gimli can't hit. A hit by Glorfindel, tink, off the armor. On we go. Gimli hanging tough. Back and forth they go. They're dancing through 23 rounds. This could be a marathon. A hit. No wound by Glorfindel. Again, Gimli's armor. Very fair. But he needs to do some damage to have any chance. Where's the offense, dwarf? A hit and a wound by Glorfindel with the ranged attack. The light of the Eldar takes Gimli down to half-life, below half-life. Gotta have a strike now, Gimli, if you're gonna do some damage and have a chance in this one. He must even the fight. He attacks, cannot hit. Dancing back and forth through 30 rounds. A hit again, tink, off the armor by Glorfindel. Gimli attacks, can't hit. Glorfindel counters, can't engage. Neither can engage. Through 36 rounds. Glorfindel still ahead. A hit, by Gimli! No damage. Deflected by the elf. Now Glorfindel attacks. Engages, cannot hit. Gimli, another hit! Can't wound. Man, tough sledding for the dwarf. Not enough offense in this one. But his defense is keeping him in the fight through 40 rounds. Another wound, only slight with the light of the Eldar. The elf, gradually whittling away the ill-tempered dwarf. Can Gimli do any damage here? The longer he stays in it, I feel like he's got a chance. He attacks. Cannot engage. Glorfindel can't engage. Gimli can't engage. An engagement by Glorfindel. No hit. A wound by Gimli! It's just very slight, a scratch. But, hey, first blood. Maybe he can do more. Now, Glorfindel engages. Can't do anything. Back and forth they go. Through 50 rounds! We have a marathon. It's anyone's fight. Advantage to Glorfindel. A hit and a wound by the elf! Is it enough? Slay! Glorfindel wins in 54 rounds. Wow. There you have it, guys. Good one there.
That really was a marathon.
Marathon, bring this home in style. All right, Manchecutioner, what do you think of that? Manchecutioner celebrating. I think Manchecutioner. Dude, did you have Glorfindel going all the way, or like to the final four? Excuse me. Let us know how far you had him going in your brackets. I know he's one of the heavy hitters, so he could totally do it. All right, quick last look at the brackets, guys, before we sign out tonight. What do we got? So, of course, we are going to advance Glorfindel here. Glorfindel will advance to take on the Balrog. Making it official. Drum roll, please. There it is. The 1 versus the 2 in that region. Pure chalk. But that sets up one hell of a fight. And that'll be a good one. And then, results of our earlier battle, Gandalf will advance to take on Treebeard in our other fight. And that is all we've got for you tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Manchecutioner did not have the Balrog slaying Glorfindel. Kind of thinking he might have picked it, though. Should have picked it. Maybe so. I mean, look, that's going to be a coin toss to me. Yeah, like you say, I mean, we probably should put more stock in the Balrog, but after last year's fights, he just didn't. The Balrog in both tournaments didn't perform well. So, I mean, for such a beast, heavy hitter, it gives me pause after having seen it twice, But at the end of the day, it's math. It's an algorithm. It's not biased, so Balrog's going to have an advantage in that one. All right, guys. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Manchecutioner, appreciate the comments, man. Keep them coming. You are by far our most frequent and best commenter. So appreciate that. Other viewers out there, drop comments. We love them. Keep them coming. Subscribe. Go to MiddleEarthMadness.com and subscribe. That allows us to keep bringing you all of the stuff. So the way to support us, if you would like to do so, is to go to MiddleEarthMadness.com. Please. And subscribe. You're going to see, at least after this tournament wraps up, you're going to see multiple... Sorry, I'm just bringing it back up the screen here. Yeah, so after this tournament wraps up, you're going to be able to see there on MiddleEarthMadness.com multiple tiers of subscriptions. Your basic one, $3.79 a month, couch change. You're going to get a free entry into our next tournament. And that it has monetary value. Why? Because our next tournament, this one was a free one that we're rolling out just to get people familiar, but our next one in June timeframe is going to be payout driven. So the best bracket in that tournament will receive cash payouts, right? So, and if you subscribe, the subscription basically pays for itself many times over if you win one of those payouts. We will help you win one of those payouts to our subscribers because we give you the newsletter with inside info, man. You're on the take, you're on the inside. You get the key, the goodies, the bracketology, the battle engine knowledge, as well as a pretty kick-ass newsletter. The newsletter is no slouch. This we promise you. So subscribe. And thank you in advance. That's all we got for tonight, ladies and gents. Striker, thanks for hopping on, man. Always love hearing your comments and love hanging with you, man. Who do you have winning it all in Middle-earth Madness?
To be honest, I have my faith in probably Gandalf or Glorfindel.
Yes.
I have my faith in
Gandalf
them.
or Glorfindel. Love it, man. Great picks. I mean, Gandalf won last year, and you just saw what Glorfindel can do. So, and also, great characters from the stories. That's the coolest part, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, again, for hopping on tonight. And we will see you tomorrow. Same-ish time. I'm thinking 8:30, but check your favorite streaming service, whatever you're watching us on. Check it, in advance in the day. I usually post the links hours in advance. So you'll be able to tell exactly what time. It's going to be between 8 and 9 U.S. Eastern time. So probably 8:30 is when we'll kick off the fights. So same time tomorrow, 4 more Sweet 16 fights. By the end of tomorrow, we will have our Elite 8. So thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking and subscribing all across your favorite socials. We're on them all. So make sure you do that for us. And until next time, in the words of Tolkien himself, you cannot come to the light except through the shadows. And where there is light, there is always hope. You are never out of the fight. We'll see you guys next time.